Celiac disease is a genetic autoimmune disorder triggered by consuming a protein called gluten, which is found in wheat, rye, and barley, affecting more than 3 million Americans. Franco Vendome is the executive chef and owner of Ninos 46 in Midtown, New York. He is part of the 1% of the population who has celiac disease. Franco explains how being the chef of an Italian restaurant changed after being diagnosed with celiac. And this is it, Ninos, follow me.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Franco.
Come on in.
You realized something was wrong with your body and the way you were tolerating certain things. Can you walk us through that process?
It was kind of an ongoing build-up for years, and going to different gastro doctors, kind of got the same prognosis all the time. But I knew something was wrong. Something just didn't feel right. I'm constantly tired, constantly having digestional issues. So I found out actually because I went to a cardiologist, which is a strange way to find out.
Right.
I went to a cardiologist because every time I would eat, I would get these really wild heart palpitations. And I noticed it was only happening after having meals. And thankfully it wasn't a heart issue, but the cardiologist was very concerned because my heart rate was fast, my blood pressure was very high, and I was only 29 years old at the time, so it was pretty abnormal for someone my age, and with my medical history was always pretty clear. I get sick so much easier than I used to. I never used to be sick. Now it seems like every winter, spring season, as soon as the seasons start to change, I fall ill with some kind of upper respiratory infection, bronchitis. And that's all because my immune system has kind of been depleted over the years.
How do you think celiac disease has affected the relationship that you have with your loved ones or in your social life?
I feel bad because they always have to cater to me. They always have to go out and buy gluten-free things for me, cook everything separately for me. So it's affected it quite a bit. Affects my social life because I'm very cautious of the places I go to. Really have to trust a place that they're completely gluten-free and they're not going to contaminate things in the kitchen, because it's just not worth me getting a reaction and being sick for a few days just to have one fun night out. My mom has gotten used to it now because I've had the disease for almost 10 years. So there I'm pretty safe, pretty comfortable, but for example, this past Easter, which was just a few weeks ago, we had Easter Sunday at my aunt and uncle's house. And especially some of the old school Italian people in my family still kind of haven't grasped what celiac really is. They'll think it's a temporary diet I'm on, or they'll think I can do like whole wheat bread or different kinds of bread. They don't get it that I have to be gluten-free for the rest of my life. But even at my aunt's house, I almost got sick because they were making pasta for me separately. She was about to put pasta water from the pot of regular pasta that they cooked, non-gluten-free pasta, which would have gave me a reaction right away, immediately. So I was lucky enough that my mom noticed it and stopped her. But if my mom wasn't there, if my mom didn't have my back, then I definitely would have got sick that day as well. I remember like the first time going to my godfather's house, and like old school Italian family, people are learning more and more about the disease. I remember they bought all this multi-grain, whole wheat, special bread for me. And like trying to explain to my great aunt who's in her 80s what the disease is, to them it's like sacrilegious, like what, you're an Italian that cannot eat pizza and pasta anymore? So bless their soul, they were really sweet and bought me all this multi-grain, whole wheat stuff, thinking that I was on a special diet and I would be able to eat that kind of bread or that kind of pasta. They went as far as to cook the pasta for me and everything. And then I had to kind of explain it to them more, but it was tough for my family to get used to it.
What are some of the things that you can't have that you really you miss today?
I miss Asian food quite a bit because soy sauce is not gluten-free. So very hard for me to go out and eat Asian food. eating gluten-free is very expensive. I definitely spend a lot more and allocate a lot more of my money to food now than I did years ago before finding out.
We took a trip to the supermarket with Franco to shop for some gluten-free items. Let's see what we get.
Fruits and vegetables. I like these juices. I usually just double check to make sure there's nothing added to them.
So when you choose like a juice, like exactly what do you look for that should not be there in order for it to be gluten-free?
The number one thing is juices are usually safe, but the number one thing would be caramel color. Caramel color is in a lot of things, and it's usually not gluten-free.
And fruits, like fruits are always safe?
Yeah, fruits are usually safe. I try to stay away from these. Although it's easier, I try to stay away from anything that is pre-chopped or pre-packaged.
Why is that?
Just because when they're doing it in their prep area or the kitchen, who knows? The knife can be contaminated. Their cutting board could have breadcrumbs or something on it. So just to be on the safe side, instead of buying something like sliced mango or sliced kiwis, I'd rather just buy the mangoes or the kiwis, any kind of fruit or vegetable, and slice it myself.
So you wouldn't be able to buy this? I mean, you would, but it's at your own risk.
Yeah, it all depends on my risk tolerance for the day. If I had like a gluten sensitivity or something a little bit less severe, I might be more willing to take a chance. But since I'm so sensitive, I'd rather just dice and slice everything myself. When my body and my immune system detect gluten, it attacks the small intestine, and the small intestine is a big part of the absorption in your body. So the small intestine, to my knowledge, from what I read about celiac, has these little finger-like projections called villi on the lining, and my immune system will attack that and destroy the villi, hence making it very hard for your body to absorb. Cereal is one of the things I struggle with the most, especially initially when I found out. Hey, how are you? Can I do half a pound of the boar's head turkey, the oven gold turkey? You guys don't slice anything with like wheat or bread just because I'm on the slicer, right? No. Just half a pound of the boar's head, please. Thank you.
We stopped here at the boar's head. Are these gluten-free safe or?
Yeah, usually I'll stick to the Applegates. Will be gluten-free, and Boar's Head claims that all their products are gluten-free. The only thing I'm taking a chance on is hoping that their slicer is clean and that they haven't sliced anything that has gluten. But I make sure I order either Applegate or Boar's Head because those two brands are certified gluten-free. So I feel the safest with them. So usually I have to search for a gluten-free beer or a gluten-free cider. Cider tends to be, you find more gluten-free ciders because they're made from apples, typically. So we're gonna look here, like most of these I can tell you just by looking at them.
They're not gluten-free?
99% of them are not gluten-free. You have to dig to try to find one or two. And obviously a lot of specialty markets like a Whole Foods or Trader Joe's have a little bit more of a selection.
Are we buying beer today?
Yeah.
Are we really?
We're gonna look for a cider or beer. So this is a Down East cider. I actually carry this at the restaurant where I'm a chef. This typically is gluten-free. It says it right here, actually. It's made from apple. So this is something that I'm safe with. I don't get a reaction, so this is something I'll buy. And maybe I'll drink a can once every couple of weeks or something. Not too much more than that. So yeah, so ice cream is really tricky as well. I just kind of have to read each label because a lot of times it's not just the items that are in here, the ingredients,
but
it's the facility it's processed in. So I've kind of learned the hard way to avoid it, just to avoid getting sick and getting a reaction. So I guess no ice cream today.
No.
True spaghetti Marzano all day.
So does that affect your role as a chef in the restaurant?
A bit. To be honest with you, when I first found out, I was really discouraged, and I'm like, kind of telling myself, how the heck am I going to be an Italian chef? I can't try anything with gluten. And Italian cuisine is a lot of gluten in our culture, in our cuisine. So I took myself out of the kitchen for a few years. I was kind of discouraged, but then I missed it. So I got back on the horse. I've had to make adjustments. Like my sous chef or my cooks will have to try a lot of things for me that I cannot try.
How does that make you feel?
I've gotten used to it now. I'm hoping, I try to take the silver lining of it and hope that it makes me a better chef in the long term. Because I really have to trust my palate, my seasoning, because a lot of things I can't try before sending it out to the table, to a customer. Wine is usually gluten-free, so I try to stick to wine, Tito's, and an occasional gluten-free beer or cider.
See it back there.
Yeah, have a bottle back there, just in case I want to have an after-work drink occasionally.
Dealing with a hangover.
Are you gonna judge me? Actually, last night, yes, I get drunk. Who doesn't get drunk?